Well, it is finally time to make a tit out of myself in BIKC. I'm now starting with a practice session, and big thanks to Jamie. He gave me one of his, and he actually, he was babysitting me basically and helping me get less shit at this track, so a big thanks to him. Now, if you're unfamiliar with BIKC, this is now the locals, which means you get a practice session, a qualifier, and then a 25-minute race, all of which are on speed 4, which of course I haven't driven before here. So we're definitely in for an interesting ride. But anyway, we're about to head out now for the first practice session. We are just about to go green here behind a man in a green suit. As we do now go green, and we're about to launch our first overtake of the day. This is currently on speed 3, as this is just a public session. He parks the apex there by accident, but nevertheless we get past him after a little bit of complaining and confusion as to what he was doing. But here we have our first incident of the session. Car has managed to drive directly into that wall. Not the first one of this session, but it's certainly strange it's happened twice. But we go green now. As I go up the inside of the man in, well, another man in the green suit. There's a lot of green suits today, let me tell you that much. As we go down the decline now, chasing down these two carts in front who, I mean, they don't seem to be using the throttle. Or maybe they're on speed 2, I don't really know. But we get past them with ease as we go to another yellow. And once again, it's another cart that has gone straight into that barrier, the exact same as the time before. Not sure if it was the same driver or not, but never mind. We're about to go underway and get right up his chuff as we're coming down the decline. Don't go on the outside there because I know that could be lethal. But make the move, stick nicely down the inside there as we now approach cart 30. And another cart in front of him as I'm now pushing 30 along. He brakes very abruptly as the cart in front of us both closes the door, but to be fair to him, there was no room there, so oh well. But we get past them as we now move on to a red flag where we're greeted by, I think, the happiest child to be under a red flag I've ever seen.
Greetings!
Big ups to that guy as we're now going to get back underway. It's green flags now, so we're just going to take him on the inside on the restart. Go up the inside here into the last corner, make another move stick. As we're going down the start finish straight into turn 1. Look around the outside. He actually defends quite well. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not, but not bad from him as we then go up to turn 4, where I managed to get around the outside of the man in the red suit and I'm now pushing the man in the green suit along as we managed to get round the outside safely without being killed like a certain Perico karting. Nevertheless, we're now overtaking 2 more carts that seem to be on half throttle as we move on to a red flag here. We're now back underway. You join me back into turn 1 as we see 2 more cars in front of us. Yet again, a man in a red suit and another green suit. As we hold back and get a lovely switchback on the man in the red suit as we're now heading up the incline, chasing down the man in the green suit. Cart 20 as we go back to yellows once again. But now I'm being directed into the pit lane. I thought I was getting black flagged initially, but it was just for BIKC briefing. Never mind, we're now back out for practice with the first car out of the grid. As you can hear me say to the lads there, I'm off to go and make a tit out of myself, which I probably am, to be realistic. But yeah, we're about to get our first dose of speed 4 here as the marshals are telling us what walking pace is, and I choose to ignore them because that is ridiculously slow and you're going to lose. So, nevertheless, we're about to start our first ever flying lap on speed 4 as we go into turn 1 a little bit too wide. Still trying to get a grasp of the grip level here. We're in cart 31, which was complained about a couple of times. No one protested any of the carts that I know about, but every single cart I got apart from my race cart was complained about. So I can use that as an excuse, which is fantastic for me. But nevertheless, we're coming down into the last corner. You can just see there's absolutely no grip today, especially when the cart's cold as well. But that completes our first hot lap as we're about to approach this man in the green suit. The green suit's return as we're coming back into the last corner now. An interesting line. I think he was fairly new, to be fair, just like I am, still learning the routes. So yeah, we're going to look to get around him nice and safely because we don't want to pick up any penalty points in practice, that's for sure. We're looking at the inside now. Get a nice line there. I just tapped the barrier and kind of ruined my speed there, which allows him to get a better exit than me. And I pull out there so I don't go into the barrier like I did in qualifying, as this man in the Mercedes suit sees the opportunity and actually pulls out a really nice move. We're now going down the inside. Just tap him slightly because I had to steer into him. Nothing too major, but then this other man in the green suit comes and starts what I call the battle of the green suits. We're now moving back into the last corner as they are side by side nearly. It's getting a bit rough and tumble around here as they're chasing each other down into turn 4. I have a look down the inside, see if I can get past the first green suit, but not enough room as we now cut back to the last corner when they're now basically side by side. I get a good exit and push this guy. He brakes. I knew he was going to brake, so I seen him do it before, so I stopped, and then he just drives into the car on the left. I point to the marshal to let him know which one to penalise because, I mean, they are pretty much identical looking, in all fairness. But yeah, no, we're now looking for a move. Trying up the inside there. Not enough space to make the move stick. Nice bit of fun, bit of racing in practice, and he just spins out. Which puts an end to the battle of the green suits and an end to our practice session here. Now this session I think I've got a 32.1 time, which is alright, not very good for speed 4. But I did spend half of the session having a shitty fight when I shouldn't have. So we're now here in qualifying. So we're now about to begin our first flying lap, which you're about to see does not go to plan as we go through turn 1 a little bit wide. Not too bad going into turn 4 here. Again, a bit too wide. Kart is still very cold. Kart 15. This one was told to have a power issue, but nevertheless, I then cock up, go into the wall and get shafted right up the arse. Full speed, which knocked my camera to view the ceiling. The guy in front did check if I was okay, so I appreciate that. Thanks. It was my fault, but that puts the end to qualifying, I suppose. We're now back for the race as we're about to grid up. I'm starting in P8. Need to come in the top 6 to qualify, so we are really going to be pushing for it here off the start as we begin to grid up, and it is now going to the lights. It's 5 red lights now and away we go. We're on the inside for the first time ever at Nottingham. Seems to be quite advantageous as we're now coming into turn 4. Bit of a nudge there is a bit of a concertina effect, but nevertheless I'm up the inside of the man in the blue Sparko gloves who shunted my camera in qualifying, but that wasn't his fault. We now cut forward into my favourite corner again, which I mess up and leave him space to try and attack me. I oversteer a bit and I may have closed the door on him a little bit too hard, but I blame the kart for being cold. Nevertheless, we cut forward to the same corner again where I get a really bad exit going into the last couple of corners, get shunted a little bit there, and he gets along the inside, but he's no longer 60-40, so I am allowed to close the door, which I do so as we go into the first sequence of corners once again. And now we're going into turn 4 here. Nice line through there, to be fair. Still looking to make sure he's not going to dive bump the inside. A bit poor through there. A bit slow through that top section. But nevertheless, still struggling a bit with a cold kart as we go into that corner again. Once again make the same mistake over and over again as we're going down to the final corner. Going into this final corner actually quite nicely there. Going through the exit, I think I'm still putting the power down a bit too early for the car. I have kind of ruined my race here by pushing way too quickly, way too early in a cold kart. So I mess up there and he gets on the inside of me. We're going up the top story and it allows him just to get by. I cannot just get my nose in there, unfortunately, which allows him by, and he did have better pace than me, so he does begin to pull away. Going back onto the start-finish line now, we're still right behind him, seeing what we can do, trying to learn off him off this speed caliber. But nevertheless, we cut forward another lap. He has gained some distance ahead just because of that corner by the fire exit. I cannot get it right. nice through there, and we had a little glance behind. Nothing really to worry about. Luckily I was faster than all the karts now behind me, so all I had to do was focus on getting consistent and better lap times and catching up to the car in front. Now cut forward again into turn 4, where I go a little bit wide, but we go into a yellow flag, so it counteracts it. Now this is where I was filled with hope, because at the minute I was P8, and this crash ahead of us put the pack a lot closer and gave one of the drivers a penalty, which put me now into P7. So we once again all to play for here as we go green. I begin pushing like a madman, something just clicks in my head, and I'm about to get my fastest lap of the session as we're about to cross the start finish line to begin that lap now, going into turn 1. Take that lovely through there, no oversteer finally as we go into the turn 4 here, going up the incline, nice and neat through there. Up the incline, still not sure the best way of taking that, still trying to figure it out and get a feel for it as we go down to the fire exit corner. Brake a bit earlier and put the power on a bit smoother and later. Seem to have did the trick there as we now go into the last corner, going across the start finish line, which completes my fastest lap of the day and of BIKC, which was a 31.93 something or other, because I can remember things. We're now back chasing down the individual in front of us again, as we're starting to gain a little bit now, get a bit more consistent and a bit smoother on the power and the brakes as we're coming down the decline into my favourite corner now. Actually fairly nice through there, a little bit too early on the power, as you can see with the oversteer. We did have a little bit of an issue with this kart with wonging, but it wasn't too bad, but the chassis did feel bent, which was not ideal. As we now cut forward again, you can see the pack all there and just put me in the zone to try and keep focused, try and keep pushing hard to catch up with the pack ahead and possibly get into the top 6. We cut forward again, you can see that I'm actually gaining now on the pack there as we're coming around to the last corner. All is still to play for as we come and cut once again a lap forward. You can see it's still pretty much exactly the same as we're coming on to the final laps of the session. We have time to make up, and it is vital that we do so now as we come into turn 4. A little bit wide there is not what you want to do at this crucial point in the race, as we are now coming down the decline into this corner here where I seem to like crashing and coming into my favourite bend that I am taking a little bit more gently, which seems to be faster as they are pulling away a little bit. But there's still all to play for as we're now coming into what I believe is the final lap. Going into turn 1 now. The first sequence of corners a little bit too wide, but on the power a little bit too early. So go into turn 4, nicely done through there. Boosting up the ramp. I think that wasn't actually optimal. I was just making a mistake doing so through there. But nevertheless, we're going through into my favourite corner once again. Bit neater through there once again, a bit too early on the power, as you can see me power sliding down, but I am still pushing to try and catch up to the pack, fighting in front. The fastest lap of P3 was slower than my fastest lap, and the averages were roughly the same, so I knew I had the pace. We're now coming into turn 4 again. This is actually the final lap now. Apologies for the last one, I got mistaken, but nevertheless, we're coming down the decline once again. Is it going to be enough? Can we gain enough in this lap to catch up and get 6th place? As we're now coming through, the checkered flag is being waved, and unfortunately the ship has sailed, and that means unless there's another penalty, I am finishing in P7. Which is such a shame, as I really got into my mojo at the end there as we are coming back into the pit lane. You can see the kart just shaking. I'm not really sure. I think it was a bent chassis because of the wonging, but what can you do? But nevertheless, we tried our best, and hopefully next year we can get past locals and head into regionals. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the head mount. I think it's a bit better for the camera focus as well, because you can see a bit more clearly. The picture isn't amazing, but I am now got my eyes on a Hero 10. I'm going to try and get one of them for the channel. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you join my Discord community of like 7 of us. And yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video with anyone you think would find it entertaining, and goodbye.